Oh, hi there folks, Matt the Lazy Cook here, once again trying to spend as little energy as possible to make something delicious. Today, as you can see, I'm going to try and make the world's hottest chili sauce with the least amount of effort involved. The chilies I'm using are store-bought, and they're the ones you can see there are habaneros with seeds in, and the other ones that you can't see yet are Carolina Reapers. Starting with the base, there's a chopped up onion, a bunch of herbs and spices there, that's paprika, nutmeg, cinnamon, garlic, what else I put in there, ginger, and just brown the onions and mixed in all together all the herbs with some olive oil. Chopping up the habaneros now, very simple, just cut them into quarters and chuck them in. And once I finish doing that, I think I'm going to be putting in the Carolina Reapers. And now I should warn you about these chilies, they are hot. The measure of heat unit for chili is a Scoville scale. Habaneros generally rate about 350 to 500,000 Scoville heat units compared to Carolina Reapers that are upwards of 2 million. The chilies that most people know, such as jalapenos, are normally about 4,000 to 5,000 Scoville units compared to 300,000. The hot chilies that we use, bird's eyes, are around about 50,000. So this is going to be a super hot sauce. When you're making your chili sauces, of course, you choose the level of heat that you want. You can put the seeds in, keep them out, make them a bit cooler. You can pick up your chilies because you drop them. You can have as many or as few as you want. And this is now, of course, heat to taste. You'll see in my ingredients list over there is a bottle of Passata as well, which is a tomato-based sauce, just to give it some volume and give it some flavour. So just taking the stalks off the Carolina Reapers there, and I am going to wash my hands thoroughly about 15 times after I've done this, because you don't want to rub your eyes with these bad boys near you. It's a very, very painful affair. And yes, they are only tiny little chilies, but my golly, they pack a punch. So there they go in. You'll see a little more olive oil and a good stir around coming up shortly. And what I'm going to do is then leave them to simmer. So yes, you can see that's a lot of chili. So a bit more olive oil in there. That's a white wine vinegar. And then also brown sugar. So this is a typical chutney recipe, really, with that white wine vinegar or that vinegar, and with the vinegar and sugar. So now that's just simmering. That's going to simmer for about 20 minutes on a very low heat. Got the stove turned right down low, and stirring it once in a while just to make sure it doesn't burn the bottom of the pan. Put all my stuff away and clean up after myself, of course. Now I'm getting my bottles ready. As always, when you're working with a new spice or with bottling, you want sterile bottles. So the bottle tops are going into the saucepan and getting boiled, and the bottles themselves are going into the oven for about 10 or 15 minutes at a high temperature, so they will come out hot. As you can see, my child is there. She and I were doing some cooking the other day. Hopefully you'll see her recipe up here shortly. This, by the way, is being edited just as an experiment with the Windows video editor, which is part of Windows 10 Photos, just to see how it turns out. I'll be interested to see the quality of the video compared to the usual videos, which I still cheat and use iMovie making. This voiceover is also being done as a bit of a cheat using a Zoom 2 microphone. I'm watching the final video and just narrating a voiceover. So depending on whether or not this is any good, it might or might not make it to YouTube. Alright, that's about 25 minutes of simmering, and you see I've stirred it 3 or 4 times in between that. It's all on very low heat still, so Now it's done, finished cooking, and I've got my blender. I want to blend this just very quickly. So I'm being naughty and putting in hot stuff into a food processor. Now I realise you're not supposed to do that, so I'm being kind of careful. And all the chili goodness is in there, and my face is being kept right away from the fumes because they are hot and chilly. Okay, really important as this goes on to the food processor. Yes, it is hot, so I'm being very careful as I start blending because I know I'm not supposed to do that in case it spurts everywhere. You'll see I gave it only a little starting point. And I'm giving it a good blend because I want this one to be sort of more of a sauce than a chutney. Okay, so bottles have been sterilised. Here they are up on the bench. Lids are coming up shortly as well. And they're being dried off on a brand new tea towel so that I don't spread any germs. And we bottle, and I have way too many bottles here, and I realise that, but it's always better to have too many than not enough. And bottling away. This one, because it is a bit thick, is being aided with, if I need it, a spatula, which just will help to get the last little bit of the chili out of the blender and into the bottles as well. Now this chili sauce, when I tried it, was exceptionally hot. The best way to describe it was lava in your mouth for a little while, and then it became a really nice heat. If you're going to make a chili this hot, my recommendation would be, if you are not of the vegan persuasion, to have it with some nice cheese and friends. Don't eat your friends, share it with your friends. Really, really good stuff. And I always put chili into the smallest bottles I can because I find a huge bottle with a huge amount of chili just will never get finished, and it kind of wastes it. So small bottles, share with many friends.